Waking up to the winter blues. Experts say shorter days can trigger seasonal sadness or even worse.
It's true. Here with advice is Dr. David Michelon, director of the Depression Clinical and Research Program at Mass General Hospital. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
We want to point out some of the numbers. We were surprised by this, even though it happens every year. The Boston area averages about 15 hours of daylight in June, but only 9 hours in December. Does the loss of light every year affect everyone here or just some people?
Right. Obviously, not everybody is affected by the decrease in sunlight that occurs during the fall and winter, but the shortening of the days, not to mention the turning back of the clocks, does affect many people, usually by disrupting their circadian rhythm, technical word for their body clocks, and also their sleep and wake cycles. A person in good health may potentially experience a short-term sleep disturbance and maybe some mild fatigue, but that typically will resolve within a few days. In more severe cases, we might see stronger mood changes, including depression. Those individuals are the ones who are most likely to have a seasonal depression or seasonal affective disorder, as we call it.
And that is the most serious form of the depression, seasonal affective disorder. How is it diagnosed?
Well, seasonal depression is essentially the same as major depressive disorder, except for the time of year when it occurs. So the symptoms are pretty well characterized. Usually people will feel depressed, sad, or down on a daily basis for most of the day for at least 2 weeks or longer. In addition, they may also notice a loss of interest or enjoyment in their usual activities. They may have sleep disturbances, loss of energy, feelings of guilt, difficulty with their concentration or memory, disturbances in their appetite, sometimes a subjective sensation of feeling slowed down, or at the other extreme, more fidgetiness. And in the more severe cases, people may have more persistent thoughts about death or even suicide.
Briefly, can we talk about solutions here, the most important part? Which ones do you typically recommend to patients?
Well, depression, whether it's seasonal or year-round, can be treated in different ways. The most common approach includes the antidepressant medications that are very effective for treating depression, and these are usually the first line of treatment. There are also different types of psychotherapies that can be used to target the symptoms of depression. For seasonal depression, there is evidence that a special therapeutic lamp can help to alleviate the symptoms, and studies have shown that in more than half of people with seasonal depression, they can benefit from this exposure to the lamp. Usually, you have to buy the lamp yourself, and it has a particular strength of light, and you should have 1 or 2 sessions a day exposed to the lamp, maybe 20 to 30 minutes each. This approach can be quite effective. It can represent an alternative to antidepressant medications, but it can also be used in combination with antidepressants.
Thank you so much, Dr. Michelon, giving us those tips of what we can do. The light is key. Director of the Depression Clinical and Research Program at Mass General Hospital. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.